आता, एक सेकंड. Nina, तू खंय आस गो?
Kisara Samrud, amgil celebrity guest Deepika Padukone tana makeup galno chanjavno eukaneva time jallale kalni maka.
जायत गो, तू बारी चंदी दिसतास. त्या सोडी. आता, आम्ही दीपिकाल विषयी उलोयावे.
Wait, let's take a look at some of the achievements of Deepika Padukone.
Hi everyone, this is Deepika Padukone and welcome to the Live, Love, Laugh lecture series.
Along with Deepika, we're also extremely lucky to have her parents attend this Sammelan today.
Mr. Prakash Padukone and Mrs. Ujjwala Padukone were our chief guests during the Konkani Sammelan of 2008, right here in the Bay Area.
A very, very warm welcome to you both, Mr. Prakash Padukone and Ms. Ujjwala Padukone. And can we also get a huge round of applause for Deepika's sister, Anisha Padukone?
Now, moving on to interview Deepika, we have two of our own, Medha Acharya and Samhita Kamath.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, it is our honor to invite a fellow Amchi woman, our celebrity guest, Deepika Padukone, to the stage.
Guys, I'm a married woman now, behave yourselves. Me too! Hi everybody, Miguel naam Medha Acharya, Miguel naam Samhita Kamath, and Miguel naam Deepika Padukone. We are so honored to have this opportunity to chat with you today, Deepika. आज कशें आसा? हांव बरी आसा. सकाळीं उठावन न्हाल्ली, ब्रेकफास्ट केला, रेडी जाल्ली, आनी आतां हांव हांगा आयल्या आनी हांव रेडी आसा हे इंटरव्यू करूंक. I'll repeat that for my husband unless he understood already. Sounds like to Umgil Mankechi, we did the same thing. I believe I can safely speak for everyone here when I say that we are so excited to hear from you.
Growing up watching you as a successful Konkani woman has inspired myself and many others. Could you tell us a little bit about your childhood and what it was like to grow up in a Konkani-speaking home?
We've had a very normal upbringing, and it continues to be that way. I think it was pretty much the same upbringing that all of us have had growing up, middle-class household from Bangalore, and a working mother, a working father, and I think it's only much when I became a little older, I realized that my father was a celebrity. And it made no sense to me because we'd walk into school and, all the teachers would give me extra attention or they'd want his autograph. And I never understood until much later on what all of that meant. But despite that, I think we never went back home feeling like we were celebrity children or, that we were different in any way. And I think for everyone here who knows my family and who knows my parents will know that we've had the most normal upbringing. Like even here when, even with my family, we've had I've met my family over the last couple of days and the relationship is still the same. It's not about who we are today as professionals, but who we are as people. No one really discusses work or achievements. It's, maybe one sentence, we're so proud of you, and that's about it. And that really sums up everything. But it's about those childhood memories with aunties and uncles and cousins. And so we've had the most normal upbringing, no perks, no privileges. Anisha and I were never given, we were never given pocket money or never allowed to just spend. Even until a couple of years ago, my father handled all of my finances. Even today, he's involved in it. So we're very, very conservative. I think that, if we came into any of your homes, y'all would feel like we've had the same sort of upbringing. And I think that's one of the things I hold on to in my life today very, very dearly. It's what keeps me rooted. It's what keeps me grounded. And for me, my upbringing, I believe, is my biggest strength.
Thank you for sharing that. That really warms our heart to hear.
Thank you.
I actually saw on your Vogue Rapid questionnaire that you speak 6 languages. What are they, and is Konkani one of the languages that you continue to speak with your family and friends?
Yes, very much. I don't know if I know 6 languages, but my Konkani is better than Hindi. So I speak English, I speak Konkani, I speak Hindi, I speak Kannada. I know a little bit of French. I understand a little bit of Tamil, but yeah.
That's more than the
are
rest
the languages.
of us.
But yes, definitely my go-to language is English, and then by default we speak Konkani at home. So I'm definitely far more comfortable speaking in Konkani than in Hindi, which should actually be my, considering I work in the Hindi film industry. But that's something maybe growing up in the South has not really been my strong point. And I think one of the best things my parents could have done for me was to keep speaking to, not just my parents, in fact, all of our family. We speak in Konkani, we interact in Konkani. So that's a language I'm very, very comfortable talking in.
I also think that everyone would love to hear the answer to this. What Konkani dish do you enjoy the most, and is there any in particular that you've learned to cook that you cannot live without?
I would say dali toy. I think it also has to do with, that's just, Ranveer, that's like simple, plain, yellow dal, which we have at home. And with potato song. Because I think especially with our work schedules, we travel so much and we end up eating food from outside so often that when we come back home, we always look forward to just that simple home-cooked meal. So yeah, that would have to be our favorite. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, as a recent college student, that's all I make, you know, when I'm living at home. So
you know what I
easy.
mean? Like, you just want that comfort food, like hot rice, hot dal, pickle, song, and that's it. You don't
Little
need
bit of bean
anything
saab
else.
curry.
Up curry, any kind of up curry. So I have to share this with you. Ranveer hates eating vegetables. But the minute we got married and he started eating the kind of up curries that we make, he loves eating vegetables now. Because it's just so like, it's not overcooked, there's not too many masalas, it's just gently stir-fried, you can actually taste the vegetables. So yeah, that's our favorite, all the up curries.
It's phenomenal. It's so nice to hear. Now, switching gears a little bit, talking about your career, you know, how do you think your childhood has influenced your journey up until now?
I think the biggest sort of blessing when I look back, I think, is the fact that we didn't have any connections to the film industry.
Right.
And so even today, I think one of my biggest strengths is that I'm not involved, I'm not in it, I'm not in the thick of things. And I think that for me works because it gives me perspective. Also as a family growing up, you know, we didn't watch too many movies growing up. You know, my father's an athlete, my mother was a working woman. So we would really watch just like the few family sort of films, maybe 3 or 4 films in a year, go to a theater. So we weren't that family that went to the movies every Friday or every weekend to watch a movie. So when I joined the film industry, for me it was like entering a new world, having to learn everything from scratch. I'd never had any, experience or any godfather who could tell me this is what it is. So I've learned everything on the go. And I think that in a way, even today, continues to be my strength. The fact that I'm able to be very objective about my choices, the things that I do well, the things that I'm not able to do well, even within the industry, you know, what seems to be working, not working. I'd like to believe that that is my biggest strength. Apart from that, again, I think my upbringing plays a huge role in the person that I am today, and that's something I'm extremely proud of. And so, you know, whether I'm at a Time 100 event or I'm at the Cannes Film Festival, for me, I will never forget my roots. And, you know, I think that again is one of my biggest strengths and something that I hold on to very, very dearly.
And in a similar vein, you know, what was the best advice you got from your parents when you were first growing up and then once you started your career again?
Wow. Again, for those who know my parents, especially my father, he's someone who's every day dropping a few gems of advice. I think there's been quite a few. I think the way we've been taught to respect people around us, I think the way we've been taught to respect money, I think the way we've been taught to live within our means, to be a good human being. You know, you can be as successful as you know, they've always said, you know, you can be as successful as you want, but people at the end of the day remember you for the kind of person that you were. So always focus on being that person that you want to be remembered as. And to be authentic and to be honest in everything that you do. On the professional side, follow your heart. You know, when Papa was young, nobody was a badminton player. No one, you know, nobody ever dreamt of being a professional badminton player. And especially from India, it was unheard of. You were either an engineer or you were a doctor or, you know, one of those professions. And his father encouraged him, his family encouraged him to pick up, you know, whatever he was passionate about. And he was passionate about badminton, and that's why he excelled, and that's why he is the man that he is. And they, as parents, have followed the same with us. Ranveer also has been blessed with parents who've supported him in that journey. So I think for all three of us, for Anisha, Ranveer and me, we've been blessed to have parents who've encouraged us and supported us in what we wanted to do, not forcing their dreams on us or discouraging us. And were they scared as parents? Of course they were, because, you know, you're moving to another city and, you know, joining a profession that we're not familiar with at all. But I think to have that faith that your child will be okay and that they can take care of themselves, and at the end of the day follow your heart and follow your dream, follow your passion. I think, you know, that's also been one of, you know, the big sort of pieces of advice that we've got from our parents. So a little bit of all of that: upbringing, money, live within your means, follow your passion, and be honest. Like, even in interviews, you know, Papa's always said, whatever you do, just be honest whenever you speak. So these are all the things that come to me. And of course, when you're young and you're growing up, you're like, oh God, like, why are they constantly giving you these pieces of advice? But as you grow up, you realize, you know, these things stay with you. The voice, when they said it to you, how they said it to you, I think all of these things always stay with you as you get older.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I have to say, both of you are doing such a good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. They're so well prepared. They know their cues, who's asking what. I met them backstage, and yeah, you guys are doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That
you.
means so much coming from you. Only the best for you.
Yes.
Since first seeing you in Om Shanti Om, 15 years ago, we have all been amazed at the movies you have brought out and the variety of roles that you have played. What type of role would you consider your niche, and at what point in your career did you realize that?
I think when I started off, I was very confused. You know, earlier on when I mentioned that, you know, as a family, we just watched very few movies. I have to share, though, that when we did watch those movies and I saw maybe Sridevi on screen or Madhuri Dixit on screen, it always felt very familiar for some strange reason. And I was a professional badminton player at that time, so it made no sense. But I'd always watch these movies and be like, wow, you know, this is where I belong. And I don't think I shared that with anyone. It was just my voice telling me that. And then when I joined the film industry, it was a lot of confusion about who am I? Who do I want to be? And what are the kind of movies that I want to do, and what do I want to represent? And for a large part of it, or at least it started off being wanting to fit the prototype of what a Hindi film heroine should be, the way she should dress, the way she should conduct herself, the way she should speak. And I have to say that with my first movie, I got very lucky with Farah Khan, because she presented me so beautifully. A double role, you know, one Indian character, one Western character. You know, she presented me in the most beautiful manner, and they really pushed me and made sure they brought the best out of me. And I believed that that was going to be the way moving forward, that every movie that I did and every director that I worked with would protect me in that way. And it's only after that experience I realized that it's actually not always going to be like that. There are times where or most often in fact, you're going to have to take care of yourself, and you have to bring a lot of yourself to what you do. And so I think I made a lot of mistakes after that along the way in my choice of movies, the kind of directors that I was working with, or maybe I was just confused. Maybe those choices were not wrong. Maybe I was just confused about who I wanted to be. And then I went through a phase, I think this was around Cocktail in 2012 and 13, where I think I started coming into my own. And I think that started translating into my choice of movies and the kind of directors that I started working with. And even at a personal level, I feel like I started coming into my own. And so I think that really has been my, my journey of, I didn't really go to a professional acting school. So I've learned everything on the go. What is a light? What is a camera? What are the different kinds of lenses? Everything, absolutely everything about what I'm able to do today and everything that you see is all what you call practical knowledge. I've learned on the go, I've made my mistakes, I've seen my movies, I've said, okay, I think, I did well here, but I've made a lot of mistakes also. And so that's how I've learned. And today, it's gut instinct. I can't explain it. It's just, that's one thing that I've always relied on, listening to my voice, listening to my gut. So today, if you ask me what kind of movies I want to do or what kind of directors I want to work with, I don't have an answer to that question. But when I listen to a script, I know, or at least I have that clarity that, okay, yes, I want to do this, or no, I don't want to do this. And this is the person I am. Yes, willing with my flaws. Yes, I'm willing to grow. Yes, I'm willing to evolve. I want to grow, I want to evolve. But at the same time, some of these things are not authentic to me. Like, this doesn't speak to me, or I'm not this person. And I'm willing to own that today. And I think I'm more confident about who I am today, and therefore that translates into everything else that I do.
Wow.
Am I the only one freezing? I'm really cold. Yeah.
So cold. Oh, I'm sweating a little bit, so I don't know. Thank you.
I should be the one sweating.
As you have gone through your career, how has your involvement in Bollywood and your motivation as an actor changed?
When I started off, again, like I said, it's a little bit of what I said earlier, which is you're colored by the perception of what you see in the media or in the magazines about what actresses should be like, and what kind of films I should do. And I think I've come to a place today where everything that I do in my life is driven by purpose. The people I choose to engage with, the kind of movies that I choose to do, and also what I don't do in my life. I think I'm at a stage today where it's more about not doing than doing. And I think that has been, if I'm doing a movie, what is the eventual takeaway for the audience? Am I able to challenge the status quo? Am I able to challenge the way people have perceived women in cinema? Am I able to challenge the way, the kind of roles that women, are being offered? So I think when you're younger, it's about success, it's about money, it's about fame. And as you get older, you realize, or at least I've realized for me, today it's not about the fame, it's not about the money, it's not about the success, it's not about being number one. It's about how can I leave behind a legacy through my work, and how am I able to positively impact people's lives through my movies, in my personal capacity, and through my my foundation and all of the other work that I do. So just to sum it up, I think today my life is driven by purpose and to give back.
That's amazing. That's very inspirational.
Yeah. I think that's really great advice also to all young people, who can really learn from that and take some really good things away from that. And
sorry, I got one more fun one before we go into that. What would you say are your most memorable characters, or the characters you are most proud of in your films?
yes, that's a good question.
That's like asking a parent who their favorite child is.
There's always an answer though.
In our equation, we know who the favorite child is, right? It's me. But it would be really difficult to choose. At this stage in my life, I'd say Piku.
Loved it.
It was very, very special. I think everything about it was special. Of course, the movie was special. I think such a unique story about how the roles reverse after a certain age, and I'm sure a lot of people here identify with that story.
Yeah.
That how our parents become children at one point and we become the parents and we have to sort of start taking care of them. And I think especially in our part of the world and in our community, that's so relevant, because I think unlike in the West, for example, I think we're taught to sort of stay connected with our families, and you don't really abandon parents, you know, we're always there for them. So I think Piku at this point would have to be my most favorite movie. Was there another part of the question you asked me?
Well, I guess it kind of falls under the same thing. Memorable or your most favorite character?
Yeah, memorable, most favorite.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, I think one of your roles that I found particularly memorable was your role as Angie in Finding Fanny. I don't know if everybody has seen this film, but it was a wonderful film where you actually had the opportunity to speak a little bit of Amchigal. And how was that experience for you? Will we ever get to see a full-length Konkani movie from you?
That's the one time I could show off on set, because we were filming in Goa. I was the only one who spoke Konkani. And of course, they speak a slightly different Konkani.
Right.
But whenever my director wanted dialogues or things like that, I'd be like, yeah, this is how you say it. Or, you know, if they were trying to understand how a Goan person would say it, then I was the only one who understood what was being said. So it definitely felt like, you know, I had a couple of brownie points there. And would I consider doing a full-fledged Konkani movie? Yes, of course, why not? I don't, you know, with cinema, I don't think, you know, cinema, I've always believed, is like love. It's like universal language. So it doesn't really matter whether I make a movie in Konkani or in French or in German or whatever language that you make a movie in. I think if the emotion is honest,
Right.
it transcends borders. And I think, you know, that's something that, you know, cinema again is something that brings people together. Being on the Cannes jury recently, again, was a reminder of that. It didn't matter if I was watching a movie from Ukraine or from wherever else, sometimes without subtitles, and it doesn't matter because the emotion is honest. The people are performing, their honest emotions, you understand what they're saying. So the language is sort of just by the way. But yes, I mean, sure, why not? A Konkani movie? Someone here can write a script. A full Konkani production, a Konkani director, a Konkani writer. Why not?
Sounds like she's accepting submissions. People get writing.
Yeah, the registration counter's at the back there.
And, you know, speaking about kind of expanding into other languages, other areas, you also had that opportunity to work in Hollywood with that Xander Cage movie. What was that experience like? Do you have any plans to come back to Hollywood anytime?
I don't think I went. I don't think I left Hollywood to go back to Hollywood.
Right,
Similarly,
right.
I don't feel like I've left Bollywood to go to Hollywood. I think those are all sort of old ways of working, old styles of working, where one had to leave the country or live in another place to actually be able to work in that industry. But I truly believe when, you know, I truly understand it when people say the world has gotten, you know, the world is a small place. It's, you don't have to be, I don't have to live in LA or I don't have to live in New York to be able to work in another industry or in another language. So yes, what I'm looking out for though is where, is representation. And, you know, I think that have we progressed from where we were several years ago to where we are today in terms of representation? Yes. But I think we have a long way to go when it comes to South Asian representation.
Right.
You know, so I think that's what I'm looking for. I think I'm done being, you know, I'm done for all of us, on behalf of all of us, being the doctor, the Indian doctor in a movie, or the Indian taxi driver in a movie, you know. I want to be Wonder Woman, you know.
Yes.
I want to be Batwoman. I want to be, you know, and there's no reason, and when I say I mean we, you know, there's no reason why I want us to be Barbie. I want us to be all of those things. There's no reason, and there's no reason why we can't be. And so the choice of, or the, let's put it this way, the decision to not do these movies is an intentional decision. To say, bring us something, bring me something that is worth our talent, worth our while, and worth our energy.
Absolutely. You know, I think that's so inspirational, especially for, you know, people like us who grew up, you know, outside of India. We grew up here in the United States. When we were very young, there wasn't any real representation of Indian culture in our media, you know. It was all very stereotypical roles, you know, think like Rajesh Kutrapali on Big Bang Theory and things like that. And that's the kind of perception that we had to deal with growing up. And it's, you know, so great to see, you know, our kind of, I felt like when I was growing up, there were almost two worlds and we were keeping them separate. And it's so great to see as we're growing up that they're coming together and people are really learning that.
Very
you know,
much.
that question about the Louis Vuitton, I think it's a good time to ask.
Yes. Sorry, give me
A little
one
bit of rearranging.
moment. And you were speaking about your involvement in Cannes recently, and we wanted to ask you a little bit more about what it was like being a jury member at the Cannes Film Festival this year, and how being a jury member, you know, changed your perspective on the film industry.
I think that's a great question for sort of what we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
When the email first came in, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, oh my God, like what have I done and how, you know, I deserve to be here. And then once I got there, I said, hell yeah, we deserve to be here.
Right.
Why not? Why we always, you know, why are we always second guessing ourselves? You know, why is it always, oh my God, like after 10 years, Vidya Balan was the last person to be on the jury, and it's taken us 10 years to have another Indian be on that jury, and it shouldn't take us that long, you know. And then I realized it's actually not us. It's part of the world, I think, not recognizing enough, or you know. And having said that, I don't think we should be on the back foot there. I think we need to be front-footed. You know, I was asked about the movie selection. I was asked about why we don't have enough Indian movies. The issue is not the movies that we're making. The issue is the selection process. There's not one movie that I saw there and I thought, oh wow, this is really much better than any other Indian movie that I've seen. Sure, within India, do we make different kinds of movies? Of course we do. Do we make the potboilers, the commercial movies that may not necessarily speak to a Cannes audience? Sure, I understand that. But are there the Anurag Kashyaps of the world, and are there other directors within India that make different kinds of cinema that will appeal to this audience? Of course. And therefore, I've come to the conclusion that it is a selection issue. It is not it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with our talent. And I think the one thing we have to do is to own that. I think we need, as Indians, we need to stop being on the back foot and keep second guessing ourselves. I think we need to own this now and be front-footed in everything that we do.
You know, and we were talking about representation and how important that is, and I think it's so incredible that you're now Louis Vuitton's first South Asian ambassador, and you know.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. So I think like all of this kind of, you know, is pretty much the same thing. I feel like the world is now waking up to South Asian representation. And should it have happened much earlier on? Yes, most definitely. But you know, better late than never. And I'd like to believe that this is just the beginning, not just for me, but for all of us.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Now we wanted to shift a little bit more into how you manage your work-life balance. Both you and Ranveer are extremely successful and I'm sure very busy people. So we wanted to ask, how do you find time for yourselves, each other, and family, and continue to make that work-life balance work?
Well, you want to answer that question? It is work. You know, I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say that
work-life balance is easy. I think for all of us here, and I'm sure you guys understand that more than anyone else, because over here, all of you have to do everything on your own. In India, we still have help. So it is work, you know, to understand, first of all, to understand the importance of work-life balance. Doing it is the next step, you know, and I think that to begin with, we all need to understand that it's important to have that work-life balance, which I think I see a lot more here than back home. So yeah, we try and, you know, sort of follow a system where we try and work only on the weekdays, take the weekends off. For us, spending time with our family is extremely important. So whether it's a birthday or you know, a festival, we try and celebrate it together. So yeah, we try and divide the time that we have for sometimes just the two of us, sometimes it's with my family, sometimes it's with the in-laws, sometimes it's just our friends. And then, of course, we understand that it's important for us to have our personal time as well, you know. So it's you have to plan it. You have to, you know, you have to do it this way. And of course, being, you know, both of us being actors, it's not easy because we're constantly traveling. If he's on an outdoor and I'm on an outdoor, you know, we can literally count on our fingertips since January how many times we've seen each other. So yes, it is definitely difficult, but I don't think it's any more difficult than any other working couple that we know. And yeah, as long as you know that work-life balance is important, you have to make the time for it. You have to work towards it.
Absolutely. You and Ranveer have also worked together on many occasions. And so we want to ask, what was it like working with your husband on 83 and, you know, the other past films that you've done together?
Well, that's how we met. We met when we were doing Ram Leela, and I think the strength of our relationship is friendship, because I think that's how it started. It didn't start off as like, you know, oh, I love him and he loves me, and it, you know, it was. Though I'm sure he has a very different story to tell. But I'd like to believe that we didn't rush into things. We were working together. I think we had time to understand each other, and it blossomed into what it is today. And so yes, I think the fact that we're able to be each other's best friends, we're able to be each other's confidant, we're able to be each other's, you know, childlike at times, and also be able to talk about our professions and understanding, because our, you know, as glamorous as our lives look, the entertainment industry is an extremely difficult industry to be in. It's extremely demanding, and so it requires a partner who's either in the industry or an extremely understanding partner, you know, to make it work, or to make it a successful or an understanding marriage or relationship. So that's how it started. And you know, I keep telling Anisha and Ranveer that they're my two most favorite people. So yeah, that's the kind of relationship we have. You know, we're friends, but we're also confidant. We can have a professional relationship and kind of keep our personal lives aside. And we're still discovering each other. It's been 10 years that we've known each other, and we're still discovering each other.
Yeah, you know, you've said I think everybody can absolutely imagine, you know, the entertainment industry is very demanding, and part of that is absolutely that everybody wants to know what's going on in your life. Everybody's so invested in that. And how do you guys handle that public as well as a private life, knowing that people just want to know what you guys are doing, where you are at all times?
I think I mean, for all of us, and, you know, especially, it's something that you get used to, you grow into it. Having said that, I think for us, we become more sort of immune to it. The family, I think, takes a longer time to get immune to it, but eventually even the family gets immune to it, you know. So I think today, it's really as long as the family knows, as long as my parents know, my husband knows, my sister knows, as long as my immediate family knows what is going on in our lives, nothing else matters. You know, you kind of learn this over a period of time. Of course, when we started off 15 years ago, even relatives over a period of time, they start learning that, yeah, okay, everything that you read is not true. Initially, you think, oh my God, we read this, you know, and then automatically everyone starts understanding that, you know, there are things that are true, but there are a lot of things that are untrue, and you kind of get immune to that. And I think the other way to look at it is we get so much love from people and from the media that the occasional one or two things here and there really doesn't matter in the larger scheme of things.
Something you've spoken a lot about in the past is, you know, what you do to keep yourself grounded in your your routines. You know, what aspects of your daily routines, rituals, etc., would you say come from your family?
Well, all the discipline, all the structure, all the routine comes from my mother. You know, she's sort of and I don't think we give our mothers enough credit. You know, she's sort of that silent support system, or that's, you know, she's that person who kind of holds it all together. If she's like the backbone. If she wasn't my mother, if she wasn't our mother, I don't think we'd be the people we are today. So yes, I think bringing in things like making it a point that no matter what each one is doing in the day, to make sure that at least one meal is had at the dining table, not in front of the TV, no devices, just sitting together as a family and connecting. You know, that's something, that's part of our routine and ritual and discipline. That's something she brought in. Or whether it's, you know, whether it's how many times in a week we eat out versus eating simple home-cooked food, whether it's, again, how we spend our money, whether it's, you know, so all of those things. So yeah, I think that, and then added to that, I think the fact that the first, you know, many years of my life I spent as an athlete. So the athlete in me also automatically brings in a lot of that discipline. So sleeping by a certain time, waking up at a certain time. I had a very fixed regime growing up. And, you know, I would wake up by 4:35 in the morning. I would finish my physical training session, come back, just about, you know, get ready for school. I wasn't allowed to miss any classes in school, so I had to attend school the whole day, then come back, grab a snack, and then we'd have the on-court session. Then I would come back around 6, 7 o'clock, do my homework, and go to sleep. So I didn't really have, you know, a normal childhood, so to say. But the time that I got off was in the evenings, on weekends, with friends to sort of maybe play cricket in the building, or play hide and seek, or house, cooking. You know, all of these things that I do with my friends downstairs in the building were primarily on weekends. I can literally count on my fingertips the number of times I've had a late night or like gone out partying when after I turned 18. So it's been a very structured, disciplined life in that sense. And I also, you know, believe that a large part of who I am today is having been an athlete. You know, a lot of what I've learned as an athlete is what I apply to my life, my professional life today as well. So the dedication, the discipline, the routine, the commitment, how to handle success and failure, how to handle competition, I think all of those things I've learned, of course, from my parents, but a large part of it also being an athlete myself. So yes, the work-life balance, you know, I try and lead a very disciplined life, Monday to Friday. Saturdays and Sundays are pretty much just for us, home, family, home chores, running a home. I'm also very hands-on as a homemaker, so that's something, and I enjoy doing it, you know. So all of these things take up my time, and sorry, I'm just getting into details because I'm assuming people would want to know.
Yes, please share.
So yeah, so whether it's, you know, running of a home, family time, friends time, couple time, sibling time, all of these things, you've got to sort of really multitask. So yeah, I guess my life is no different from anyone else's.
Definitely. that sounds like our lives as well. Something else you've spoken very candidly about is mental health. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences and what you would advise people, especially young people today, to do to manage their health and well-being?
Yeah. So in 2014, in the beginning of 2014, I remember waking up one morning feeling really disoriented and feeling absolutely low and directionless, and I didn't know what was happening to me. And I remember feeling like that for a prolonged period of time, for several weeks in fact. And I remember Amma and Papa were visiting me in Bombay, and I put on this brave front of like everything is okay. And then it was on the last day when they were packing their bags and ready to leave, and I was sitting in their room, and Amma asked me something and I broke down. And as a mother, of course, she was concerned, and she asked me the usual questions: is everything okay? Is it something at work? Is it a boyfriend issue? Has something happened? And I was like, no, it's nothing. Everything's fine. Everything's perfect. I've just come out of like 4 successful movies: Ram Leela, Happy New Year, Chennai Express. So a whole bunch of these movies had happened, and there was no reason for me to, from an outside world, there was no reason for me to feel like that. But something in her, I don't know, and maybe that's a conversation to have with her at a later time, is she instantly knew that I needed professional help. And immediately she said, you know what, I'm cancelling my flights, I'm not going. I need you to call this person, Anna Chandy, who's also a family friend, and she's a counselor, she's a therapist. And she said, I need you to call her right away. And I was happy to do this because I didn't know what was happening to me, right? And I was living with this for a while. I had gone on for a pretty long period of time with other professional commitments. In fact, I remember one IFA had happened here in, where was that?
Florida?
In Florida, yeah, that's the one. And this was at the peak of my depression, but I had not been diagnosed. I didn't know what was happening. So if you see me on stage, or if you see me around at that time, if I say during this event and this event, I was experiencing this, nobody could, maybe a professional could tell, but everyone else would probably think that I was absolutely fine. So I did all of these commitments, but I would struggle. Like just waking up was a struggle. Going out there and putting on this front of like everything is okay was a real struggle. And so when she said, I need you to call Anna, I did that. And I think I was really fortunate that in my very first call, I spoke to someone who could identify just in my voice that something was wrong. And she said, I think, I need to put you on to a psychiatrist, and, we need to see you. So I got help immediately, and I was diagnosed with clinical depression. And it took me a while to sort of just understand what all of this was. But the minute it was diagnosed, I already started feeling better. Because I think the fact that I didn't know why I was feeling, I would just cry at the drop of a hat. I would, if I was on a stage, or, if I had to do something, as soon as I finished, I would go inside my trailer and, and break down. I didn't want anyone to see me like that. And so when I was diagnosed with clinical depression, it felt like this huge sort of, I did feel relief, because I felt like, okay, at least now we know what it is. At least it's not this confusion about why am I feeling this way. So that was the first step. Then comes medication. I was put on medication, and I was like, oh God, like all of these preconceived ideas about medication and, it's going to play with your head and stuff like that. I resisted it for a very long time. In fact, when I came to IFA and I'd gone to a bunch of other places, I told the doctor, I said, no, you know what, I'm just going to carry it with me. Today I'm feeling fine. Today, I don't need it. And he was just like, keep it with you. And then I realized that it was not consistent. There were days when I'd feel really good and there were days when I'd feel really low. And then it just started getting exhausting. Like I was just exhausted, just constantly carrying this burden on my shoulders. And, I finally got down to taking medication and, I've been on the mental health journey ever since then. So taking care of my mental health and therefore, to your previous question, the work-life balance is even more important for me today because, those are some of my triggers. So it's, not a day has gone by today without thinking about how I feel mentally or emotionally. I think most of us wake up feeling, oh, I feel fat. I feel like I've put on a little weight or, oh, I'm feeling a little stiff. But how many of us really wake up in the morning thinking, okay, how is my mind feeling today? Am I at peace? Am I angry about something? Am I feeling low about something? So those are sort of the things that I do today. So coming back to this, so I finally started taking my medication and I started feeling better, and then I was on the road to recovery. Once that happened, I realized that there was it felt like there was a lot of stigma attached to mental illness. And it made me think about, why we dealt with it in a certain way. Why were we trying to make sure that doctors came privately to the home, we didn't go to a clinic, we didn't share with anyone how I was feeling. I wasn't comfortable sharing with anyone the way I was feeling. And so when I got better, I said, why did we deal with it like this? Why did I deal with it like this? And it made me realize that it was because of the stigma that is attached to mental illness. And so that prompted me to, and part of it was also, I had sort of been on this journey for like 6 months. A part of it was also just wanting to speak my truth. And so I remember wanting to desperately come out and share my journey and share this story with the world. And so I did an interview in 2015, I think early 2015, where I did an interview with Barkhadat for the first time. And Amma was on the show with me as well, and Dr. Sham Bhatt, who's my psychiatrist, he was on the show with me as well. And for the first time, I came out on national television about my experience with mental illness. And I remember after that experience just feeling so light, feeling so relieved, like this huge burden off my shoulders had been lifted. And then we started getting calls and messages, and this interview almost sort of took the nation by storm, if I may say so myself. And that's when we realized that this was not the end of the journey. This was the beginning of the journey. And that the conversation around mental health in India, that was the starting point. That was the beginning. And that prompted me to set up the Live, Love, Laugh Foundation to destigmatize mental illness and to create awareness about the importance of mental health. Because it made me realize that one of the reasons why we went about it this way is because people didn't have enough understanding about what mental illness is, and therefore the stigma, So all of that prompted me to set up the Live, Love, Laugh Foundation. It's been 7 years. Anisha Padukone heads the foundation. And I think that for us is our calling today. So yes, part of my life is being a daughter and being a wife and being a sister and being a friend. But a huge part of my life and our lives today is our work in the mental health community and to give back and to support people. And I remember saying to myself that if we can save even just one life, the purpose would be served. So that's where we are on this journey.
Absolutely. I think that's so inspirational. It's so needed, especially in the Indian community, as you said. I think this is a great time for us to share with you a short video about Deepika's foundation, Live, Love, Laugh.
Thank you.
Some of us carry a greater load than we can handle. Others do not always see our distress and helplessness. They may not see our pain, but we feel it. We know that it's there, and coping with it can be a struggle. Nearly 200 million people in India deal with mental illness. That is 1 in 7 people, and they are often left to cope in darkness, silence, and shame. Alone, feeling helpless and hopeless. Take a moment to think how many people around you could be fighting a battle with mental illness. In our schools, our colleges, our homes, there are young people who desperately need help and may not always know how to find it. Live, Love, Laugh is a charitable trust creating a movement of hope for everyone experiencing stress, anxiety, and depression. We are here to ensure mental illness does not destroy lives. Hope is at the heart of all we do because everyone needs hope. Hope that their burdens are not theirs alone. Hope that they can look to us to help them cope. Hope that there will be a brighter tomorrow.
Hello everyone, my name is Hina Sidhu. I am a 2-time Olympian, former world #1 world record holder in the sport of pistol shooting, and I'm here today to talk about my struggles with mental health. In December of 2018, I first reached out and asked for help. I was sponsored by Olympic Gold Quest, and I talked to the CEO, and he understood what I was going through. He put me across to the team of Live, Love, Laugh Foundation, and together we found a solution. They found a psychiatrist in Mumbai, which was very close to my house. I went, I saw him, and I was diagnosed with depression. I was sort of thankful that I knew that okay, now we know what is wrong with me, now we can fix it.
We help reduce stigma towards mental illness by building awareness and providing access to credible mental health resources. Our science-backed programs help spread mental health education, improve mental health care in villages and towns in India, and expand the base of trained mental health professionals in the country.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಬಸವರಾಜ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಜಗಳೂರು ತಾಲೂಕು ದಾವಣಗೆರೆ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ ಬಸವನಕೋಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸವಾಗಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನನಗೆ ಉತ್ಸವ ಇವನು ಹಿಂಗ್ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನಪ್ಪ, ಇವನು ಒಂತಾನಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಹೊಡೆಯರಿ, ಏನಾರು ಬೈದ್ನಪ್ಪ ನನ್ನ ಹೊಡೆಯರಿ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಿಂದ ತುಂಬ ಅನುಕೂಲವಾಗಿದೆ.
Our initiatives create a sustainable model for prevention and treatment of mental illness. Our work touches not just people with mental health issues, but also their loved ones, caregivers, and communities. our efforts have transformed countless lives. Each has their own message of hope.
And Live Love Love Foundation is one of a kind, and I was practically relieved that even in India we had a foundation which took care of mental health, like healthcare needs. And now I am very proud to say that I have been to therapy, that it's okay to go to therapy. It's not something to be ashamed of. In fact, I wear it as a badge of honor.
For every life unburdened, the rays of hope spread further until no one feels abandoned, ashamed, or alone on their mental health journey. We invite you to join our movement of hope to help those who may be struggling. All of us are in this life together. Together, we can ensure that no life is lost due to mental illness and that everyone can live, love, and love. To find out more, visit the livelovelovefoundation.org or follow us on social media.
Just wow, you know. I think all of us can relate to this in some sense. You know, I can't think of anybody I know from my generation who hasn't gone through some type of experience with some anxiety, depression, something like that at one point in their lives. You know, this is far more prevalent than we may even realize it is. And so thank you so much for your work in this and for bringing this awareness, because it's absolutely needed.
Thank you. No, we'd be happy to come back another time and also do maybe a session which is just specific to the foundation and specific to mental health. But yes, like you said, I think it's very, very prevalent. And I think especially in our community also, I think our default is to bottle up our feelings and emotions. I think we're extremely sensitive people, we're extremely emotional people. And therefore, and what we end up doing, most of us, is, and we end up bottling our feelings. And I think all the more reason for everyone sitting out here, you know, it's okay to seek help. It's okay to feel low. I think let's talk about this a little bit. I think there's a difference between being sad and being depressed.
Yes.
So if you feel any sort of if you feel low for a prolonged period of time, is ideally when one would seek help. So yeah. And you know, I think there's no shame in it. Like he said, I think, you know, we now wear this as a badge of honor, and I want you to know, I want everyone to know, everyone sitting here and everyone who's watching this, that you are not alone. You know, that we're all in this together, and just based on my own experience, that there most definitely is hope.
Absolutely. I think, you know, you pride yourself on being authentic, and it's one of the most authentic things to share about yourself. You know, it's something that you've gone through, and you know, it's something that we can all relate to, and I thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
It's remarkable that you've done so much for the community, and in recent years you've worn so many hats. We've also wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, the side of your production experience and that side of the industry that you've experienced in the more recent years. You worked on films like Chapak and 83, which were both retellings of real-life events. Are these the types of stories that you are most interested in sharing with the world, or what other types of stories are you looking to tell?
So there's two parts to this. Yes, I think on the creative side, I think the way I choose to produce a movie or produce an act in a movie, I think the process will pretty much be the same, which is my gut instinct that we spoke about. And of course, everything that I choose to do, you know, should ideally take the world into a better place, or, you know, give people hope, or have some sort of impact, or have some sort of message. Ideally, it's not, you know, it's not always possible. You know, sometimes you're just telling an entertaining story, but for as much as possible, I want to be able to be a part of movies that can really shift the needle. But what excites me even more about being being a producer is actually to change the environment in that we're working in. And I think having experience in the West has taught me that. So I think just better wages, better food, quality of food for the, for everyone that works on a film crew, the kind of timings, insurance, mental health, access to mental health, access to medical health, medical facilities. So I think these are just some of the things that, that I, as a producer, would like to get in. Some of the things that have just been brushed under the carpet, some of the things that are just sort of taken for granted, because we end up working with people who we think don't have a voice, because we think they can't stand up and ask for their basic need and basic rights. So I think just the working environment is what I'd like to focus on as a producer moving forward.
That's wonderful to hear. I think it's definitely really important to make sure that it's not just the people in the spotlight, but everyone working behind the scenes to make the production work. And it's so great that you were making sure to think about them first. What are your goals when it comes to film production in the future? What kind of films are you looking to work on? And are there any actors or producers that you are particularly excited to work with?
No, like I said, I mean, for me, it's pretty much, just wanting to be able to produce movies that can really shift the needle. I'm not going to say I'm going to do, only female-centric films, or, I believe that we all need to coexist. We all need to work together. But as long as we find exciting, interesting, compelling stories to tell. But yes, for me, production is more about wanting to change the way we work behind the scenes. And yeah, along the way, just tell interesting stories.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Now,
and I think we're all so excited to see what else you bring out. I think everybody's going to love whatever projects you come out with next.
And at this point, I think we'd love if Ranveer would join us on stage.
Everyone's hungry, come on. We have to eat our dali toy.
Yeah.
That's very true.
How sweet.
There's no mic for me. I'm just going to have to speak like this, leaning into you.
Okay, the mic is coming, huh? We are all amchi geles. We are very conservative people.
You're feeling cold. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh. Wow. In case you were feeling cold, baby, I bought you a blanket from Louis Vuitton, since you're the brand ambassador of the house of Louis Vuitton. I must say the global Sindhi community is also so proud of you. But it's a fact. We are very proud of you.
Thank you.
Oh, I could wrap myself around you, if you would like that. I'm not feeling cold. My body heat is generally very high.
Thank you so much.
Hello,
for joining
ladies.
us.
Yes.
Must commend you on this fantastic job you have done.
Thank
Compare.
you.
Thank you.
Best
Really done your
compliment.
homework. So wonderful to be here. Thank you all for the love and warmth. I really do feel welcome in this instance to the Konkani community. Thank you for all the love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Feels great. I am, of course, a man who needs no introduction. I am Deepika Padukone's husband.
If you guys don't ask him a question, he's going to keep going on.
Yeah. I was wondering
Giving him a
when's
mic
my
is
cue?
dangerous.
Putting me on a stage with a mic is very dangerous.
Would you like him to say a few words?
Yeah, absolutely. You say you feel welcome in our community. Prove it. Give us some words of Konkani that you've learned.
A thundering round of applause for me. Look at my achievements. You can learn from me also, young Konkani men. You can make your dreams possible. Be inspired by me.
Now say all of that in Konkani.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I must tell you, I make it a point, whenever I'm in Bangalore, I insist that the family converse in Konkani so I can get better. I must tell you that I'm very close to being in a position where I can understand all of Konkani seamlessly.
Wow.
But there is a reason behind this. It's because when we do, Jai Jhulelal, have children, I don't want their mother to speak to them in Konkani about me without me understanding. You know?
So he
I don't
comes
want
up
there
to
to
me
be
one
this-
day and he's like, you know, baby, I want to learn Konkani. And I fell for it on that day. I was like, oh, nice, that's really sweet. Like, okay, then, you know, I'll start learning Sindhi. He doesn't know Sindhi. So he can't go to the Sindhi convention, you know, and talk in Sindhi. Like, I'm here and talking in Konkani.
I didn't look at my solitaires, I'm qualified.
And then he's like, and then it came out in conversation over a period of time that it wasn't about him wanting to learn Konkani. It was about so that I don't turn the children against him.
I don't want them to speak in code language and I don't know what's going on. What is it? Tugel Bapu Pirkis. No? Something like that. See? I know my Konkani.
So
Been doing my homework
this
also.
is some like naughty cousin who's given him like different Konkani lines, and someone's given him this and he's repeating this without understanding what it means.
No, I know what it means. I know what it means. I must tell you, of course, the first word that I learned. May I share?
Sure.
The first word is like, this is a very important word. You must know Hodka. Yeah. It's very important to know this.
Like a
These are
big
your
dog?
naughty cousins.
Maybe everyone doesn't say the same thing.
But amongst the several things that I do know, hanga yevnu khushi zale.
Amkai.
Why, thank you. आमची गेले जानान गेले जावई जावनू माका भारी खुशी झाले.
Well done.
And finally, my mic drop moment. देव बरे करो.
I'm
It's
impressed.
official.
You've been inducted.
I have been inducted.
Yes.
I'm the Babaji?
Bhavaji.
Babaji.
Brother-in-law.
Bhavji of the global Konkani community. What a
Yes.
You beautiful, intelligent, gorgeous, rare breed, most amazing tribe. I am so honored and privileged to be your Bhavji. Once again, thank you for all the love. A round of applause for my gorgeous wife.
Thank you.
I live, love, and laugh with her. And she is the greatest gift, most amazing blessing of my life. And I love you, baby. I'm going to take you back, wrap you in the blanket, and feed you.
Some
Daritoy?
Yeah.
That's the one.
You know, while we still have you on stage, I think this is a question that we can get some really great input from both of you. You know, as we kind of mentioned a little bit before, both of you didn't come from, you know, film families. You guys really kind of made it in this industry on your own and through your dedication and hard work, and I think we've all seen the efforts of that. What advice do you guys have for young people, you know, who are maybe not satisfied with what they're currently doing, maybe looking to enter a more creative industry?
Well, I mean, there's quite a few. I think for one, follow your passion. You know, I think often we end up doing things that our parents expect of us. But I think if you really want to thrive, we must always follow what our passion is, what our heart and mind is telling us. The other thing I'd say is patience. I think that's one thing I see maybe lacking in the current generations and in the younger generations. Everyone wants instant gratification, everyone wants instant success. And I think to remind ourselves that all of us, our parents, our grandparents, have gotten to where we got to because of the years of work that we put in, because of the hard work that we put in. Nothing has come overnight, nothing has happened overnight. So, and I see that pretty much like almost a trend now. You know, everyone wants instantly, you know, tomorrow and day after, and within 6 months and within 1 year, and jumping jobs, and you know, maybe that's a different way, but that's not a way I personally understand. My way is sort of to go through the grind and to be consistent and to also be patient. So I'd say patience and follow your heart.
How do you stay motivated when, you know, in that long haul, when, you know, there are also failures that you go through? How do you stay motivated and, you know, push forward to that path of success?
It again comes down to passion. I think if you're passionate about what you do, you know, will you feel disappointed in your moments of not achieving something? Of course. But I think what will keep you going is that passion for what you do. Because that's the only thing that prompts you to, or pushes you to wake up every morning and do what you do. Whether you've had a good day or whether you've had a bad day, or you know, you've had a successful meeting or an unsuccessful meeting, you wake up knowing that, okay, at least today I'm going into the office doing what I love doing. And I think, you know, so I think that when you're passionate about what you do, I think everything else will follow. But patience also, you have to be patient. You have to understand that, and no two journeys will ever be the same. You know, just because you went through a certain journey and you saw maybe success or failure at a particular time, that may not be the same for her. It will be something completely different for her. So I think to understand that no two journeys are the same. Follow your heart, but also be patient on this journey.
Definitely.
Yeah. Ranveer, any other words from you? As she summed it up.
How can I follow that? So articulate. Very important to fanboy over your wife. Yeah, I mean, I think self-belief is very important. Don't let anybody else tell you what you can and can't do. There's a movie I did called Gully Boy. There's a great line in that. You know, Murad tells us that, "Koi dusra mere ko batayega main kaun hai? How can anybody else tell me who I am and what I'm capable of?" You know? I know who I am. I know your worth, know your value. Believe in yourself first before anybody else believes in you. I'm very inspired by the divine talent, the legend, Mr. Shankar Mahadevan. What a night we had, huh?
Yeah.
How he was playing with us and including us, and Mr. Pai was killing it as well. Mr. Venugopal Pai.
Yes.
He's killing it on Kajrare. He was like, Kajrare. Okay, so if you give me a beat, I'll give you an inspirational rap. How about that?
Yes, please.
It says it all in the most poetic way. Would you like that?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Give me a beat. खड़ा हूँ कैसे मैं यहाँ पे अब न पूछना, दर्द शायरी में तुझको चाहिए सबूत क्या, शिखर ये सोच पर जुड़ा हूँ मैं जमीन से, यकीन तुमको ना पर आगे आया मैं यकीन से, लाख नफरतें हो साथ माँ का प्यार है, हंसी है उसकी जीत मेरी कैसे जाऊँ हार में, काट लो जुबा आंसुओं से गाऊंगा, गाड़ दो बीज हूँ मैं पेड़ बन ही जाऊंगा, दिल था टूटा तब हिप हॉप मेरे साथ था, उजाले मिलने में मुझे हर रात का ही हाथ था, कलाकार में कल को आकार दूं यही है मेरा धर्म, मेरी दूसरी कोई जात ना, माहिर अब मेरी गली ये मेरी माशुका, लड़का येड़ा में छुपाने पर भी ना छुपा, सुन रहे जो मुझको बेशुमार प्यार उनसे, बना था गीत में पर मैं खुद बना हूँ तुमसे, गौर कर लो मेरी बातों पे तुम ध्यान दो, नैन को मैं नम करूँ सुकून में देता कान को, चिल्लाओ जोर से उठाओ अपने हाथ तुम, असली हिप हॉप से मिलाए हिंदुस्तान को. What a beautiful line, huh?
Yeah. Absolutely.
कलाकार में कल को आकार दूं यही है मेरा धर्म, मेरी दूसरी कोई जात ना. You will, if you believe in yourself, realize that the miracle is actually you. You are the miracle. The miracle is inside you. Just believe that it's there.
Absolutely.
Be the catalyst for that miracle to happen. And you know what my superpower is? I've realized this very recently, and I must share it with you, is gratitude.
Absolutely.
I wake up in the morning and I have this every day. It's incredible. I have this overwhelming sense of gratitude. I'm overwhelmed by it. It takes me some time to actually come out of it. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, man, just look at my life. I've got eyes from which I can see. I've got limbs that work. I've got a bed to sleep in. I've got food to eat. I've got water to drink, water to bathe, clothes to wear. I've got a beautiful, loving family, loving friends. I do what I love to do for a living, and I'm overwhelmed by that sense of gratitude. So there are some things in life that we take for granted that you mustn't. You must appreciate all the blessings that you have in life and count the blessings that you have in life. And it'll make you so powerful, you know, if you just say thanks to the Almighty for all the things that you've been blessed with. You'll receive more and more.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those inspirational, just wonderful, so articulate words. You know, thank you so much, both of you. Thank you so much, Deepika. It was so wonderful speaking with you. This is genuinely like a crazy experience. I'm gonna go off stage and like I can't even realize it's happened, you know? But it was so wonderful speaking with you, hearing about your experiences, and we're so honored to have you share your time and your with us. So we'd like to present you with some tokens of our appreciation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have to say though, I want to congratulate the committee and I want to congratulate everyone because having to put up something like this, and we're in the entertainment industry, so we understand the work that it takes. Every wire, every speaker, every light, every chair that you're sitting on, we understand the work that goes into making this possible, especially coming out of a pandemic. But it feels so personal. This event has really felt very, very personal for me. It doesn't feel like one of those things that you go and sort of just have to attend and do. It's felt very, very personal. So thank you so much. A lot of my family members have been on the committee. But everyone, we've just been so well taken care of, everything right from the beginning, from the time the first email came in, and I know this was supposed to happen 2 years ago, and then everyone reached out again. But just, I can imagine the crazy amount of work and effort that's gone into this. So thank you so much, and I couldn't be more proud to be a Konkani and to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You did such a good job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.